Hello everyone, welcome to GoTarryn TV. I'm Taryn the Traveling Trainer with GoTarryn Personal Training here in the greater Atlanta area, about to welcome back an amazing guest once again here on GoTarryn TV, an awesome fitness professional, Mr. Nathan J. Nowak, who's also here in the greater Atlanta area. Now before Nathan visits us once again on GoTarryn TV, I'd like to ask everyone out there, if you please be so kind as to like this video, leave us a comment, and share it with all of your friends and family out there. Now, Nathan came out to Georgia State University a few weeks ago, and he once again guest lectured for two of the classes out there that I teach, both of them fitness program management, and the students absolutely loved him because they got to learn real-life, real-world experiences that's out there, particularly here in the health and fitness industry. So today, we're going to talk about personal training. I'm going to ask him about personal development, of what he asks of his personal trainers, and everything else that encompasses this world. We're going to look at the good and the bad of it, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So when we come back, I'm excited because once again, Mr. Nathan J. Nowak joins us here on GoTarryn TV. And remember, with GoTarryn Personal Training, it's your time, it's your investment, it's your life. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back, folks. And as you can see side by side, once again, we're rejoined by Nathan Nowak. Next split screen here. Nathan, how are you doing out there today?
I'm good, Taryn. How are you?
Very good, thank you. And I appreciate you coming on here, and also very much appreciative to you and Stephanie visiting last week with talking to the Georgia State students with that presentation. And that was exceptionally well, like always. I, again, thoroughly enjoy your speaking and always learn a lot from you. It's terrific to get, your mindset and your viewpoint up there because, again, I take away a lot of it. So having said that, first and foremost, I guess, how was this class different than last time when you came, with exception of the fire drill that we spontaneously had? Besides that, how did this class differ? Did you notice any differences with the students, or when you were speaking, were there anything that, like insights, like, oh yeah, made you think that was profound, or anything that you take away from it?
This class, they had more questions at the end.
They did,
which I thought was great. It's funny, you get up there and you speak for an hour, and then you open it up for Q&A, and everyone just looks like possums in the headlights, and there's no questions. And I make the joke, I'm like, okay, I'm not that good. There's got to be at least one question about something that I said.
Exactly.
But in that last class that we had, there was a lot of good questions.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the same. This class here, both of those classes that I did this last time, they asked a lot of good questions, and I got a lot of response after the class, and the students would come up kind of with like personal experiences or personal questions that they had with their career moving forward, and maybe some a little bit more insight into what they're doing, and then asking me a little bit more about that. I've had a couple of the students reach out and email me and say thanks for showing up for the class and talking to us. They were very appreciative, and it was a lot of fun. I really, now that you and I are older, we're giving back that knowledge, and it's fun because I remember when you and I were first starting. I wish I had somebody to kind of come in and say, hey, watch out for these pitfalls. You always got to do your own thing, but watch out for these pitfalls, and, kind of share some insight into what can happen and the success that you can have, but also the pitfalls and the things to stay away from, that people don't normally tell you, whether you're in school or just in the industry itself.
No, you're right, Nathan. This is invaluable stuff because, as you mentioned, they don't teach this in school. This is nothing that, you can just go and assume that you'll know. It's just like you said, you and I, we get that through experience and through seasonings and through beatings of learning. And, we're kind of baptized in fire, so to speak. So you're right. I agree with you that I'm the same way. I wish we would have been able to learn this in their seats, and also what you said too, that I wish we had the power of that smartphone that they've got and a laptop. I didn't have either when I was in school, and just to think, like you said, how far could we have gone and excelled with that kind of knowledge or that potential? But it's amazing. It's really interesting. So I think they definitely appreciate it. Now, some of the stories you gave from the talks too, Nathan, I thought were really interesting. You know, for example, you talked about the dangers. I really love what you said about when you said that when you work for yourself, it's almost like you definitely feel more secure. When you work for someone else, you've got like no security. I attest to that big time. I think that the best person you can invest in is yourself. So you told the story about, for example, like when Coca-Cola came, or I'm sorry, Plus One, I guess it was, that came in and did that transition. And if you don't mind, maybe just sharing that and your takeaways and kind of insight on that, because I think that's important for people who are listening right now. If they're curious, you know, how the corporate world can be, it can be very vicious out there, right?
Yep, definitely. And so to go back to the beginning of that story, I started with Coke. Coke was one of my first contracts that I had back in 1998 when I first moved into Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And I was there for 17 and a half years. And I watched it go through many transitions. And I went from just teaching some classes in the fitness center to training Jeff Dunn, who was the president of Coke, for a while in the early 2000s. So I got to kind of see the employee side. I got to see, you know, the upper executive side. And you know, the Coke environment, the Coke dynamic after 9/11, and it's kind of ironic that we're speaking on 9/11.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
After that, you know, a lot of people got let go because things changed. You know, the Wall Street changed, everything changed. And my classes went from 30, 40, 50 people in a class down to 6 or 8, 10. Wow. And, you know, I said, well, you know, what's going to happen? Because usually when you have a contract, you want as many people in the class as possible, because then that shows that people are coming to your class, people like your class. But when you drop from 40 or 50 people down to 6, I was like, am I going to be let go because I can't sustain that number? And they said those are the old numbers. We can't go by that anymore. If you can have, you know, 10 people or 15 people in a class, then that's going to be our new norm or new average that we want to go with. The dynamic changed because before that, everybody was happy to be at the gym. It was a place where you could go, you could kind of, I mean, corporate environment, you really can't let loose, but you know, you can kind of just be with your friends. You can get a good workout in. There's some camaraderie. There's some collaboration that's outside of the office, and then you can go home. And the big events that they would do, like the corporate challenge or the Peachtree Road Race, and they would build up these different events and get people involved in those. And that was really fun to see people passionate about doing different events and stuff. But after 9/11 and all those people got let go, the complete dynamic and the atmosphere and the mood changed. And every day I would go into the gym and people, they looked afraid and they looked scared. And because you never know if the next day you're going to be called into the office and be let go. And it's just, I personally, I can't live like that. You know, knowing that we own our own business. If I want to make some more money, then I need to go get some more clients, or I need to do a seminar, or I need to do something. You know, if you're in a corporate environment, you know, if you ask for a raise, it's either a yes or no, and there's only so much money that you can actually make. You can get capped off. So I stayed in that environment, you know, because that was just one of the things that we did. It was just one contract that we had. So I wasn't there all the time. And then towards, I think it was 2015, maybe 2016, Plus One came in. Coke decided that they weren't going to use their staff and their employees anymore. They were going to contract it out to a fitness company. So Plus One basically eliminated everybody except for me in the jobs. They had a couple people reapply, some personal trainers reapply for their jobs, and they were able to get their jobs back. But the two main ones that were quite shocking were Debbie and Phil. Debbie and Phil were two of my mentors. They rehabbed both of my knees after the Olympic trials and after the state championships when I blew my knees out. And Debbie said, you know what, I've got enough time. I'm going to retire. But Phil, you know, he said, well, I still enjoy this. I still want to do this. And they were like, okay, great. Well, then just reapply for your job. So he reapplied for the job that he had been doing since I had been there 17 and a half years, but it was 20 plus years. And then they tell him he wasn't qualified for that job anymore.
Wow.
And that's a smack in the face, because these aren't just LA fitness trainers. These are people that are industry gurus that have spoken on stage and have written articles and written books. And it's like, you're telling me that what changed in the last week or two that now he's not qualified for the same job that he's been doing. And at that point there, when I realized he wasn't coming back, it was about 2 or 3 weeks later, I said, you know what? I'm done. I can't do this anymore, because loyalty, integrity to me are very big. And I was very loyal to them because of the fact that they were so helpful to me, especially, the late 90s and early 2000s when I was first starting out. They really helped me and gave me a chance when I first moved here. So I felt just out of I don't know, just, being their friend, I felt like it was a slap in the face if I stayed there and kept a contract with a company that really had no problem getting rid of people like that. So.
Oh, what a story. Yeah. I mean, it's scary. We all have our personal experiences where, like you just said, any one of us could just be let go like that, and they just come in, and that's happened to me before. I've got my path of a corporate fitness center kind of doing the same to me. But also, Nathan, you just mentioned about LA fitness trainers too. The other thing I wanted to ask you about for another subject here was about personal trainers in general too, because you touched on this in your talks as well, where I thought it was really interesting that you will not accept any trainers if they have that on the resume. So anybody who's looking for a job with Nathan, you better make sure you take that off of your resume.
Don't go to LA Fitness.
Right. So, and it's funny, Nathan, because whenever I'm talking about my presentations on lesson plans and such, I hate it, because I always say, there's great personal trainers, there's great fitness centers join, and then there's LA Fitness. I call it the Walmart of personal training, and the Walmart of gyms. And I hate to do that. I mean, I hate to generalize, but it's just the facts. I mean, it is, when your standards are so low. So what is it? I guess this is a very fully loaded question, but when, let's say somebody's watching right now or listening and has no clue, they're just a novice and they haven't been in a gym before, they're ready to start, and they say, okay, well, I've got my option of LA Fitness. What's the difference between going to there or going to a reputable, high-standard fitness center where you're going to maybe pay a little bit more for your personal training, but you'll get a better value? How could you break it down in layman's terms for the people who might be beginners out there if they don't know any better?
When you first start, you're hungry and you want to hustle, and you need to make money. I mean, in my case, I moved from outside of the city. I moved into the city. I didn't know anybody. I needed to make money quick.
Oh yeah.
So you have all these different avenues that you can get into, and one of those is you see a lot of advertisements for become a personal trainer at LA Fitness. Now, LA Fitness itself is not the problem. The problem is the certification, and that there are two types of personal trainers. There's Taryn and I, the professionals, and then there are the guys and the girls that will pay $400 or $200 and two proofs purchase off a Cracker Jack box, and they become a trainer. And just because you can pay for a certification doesn't make you a professional. So we have it just seems that in my experience that LA Fitness was attracting all of that bottom group of people that couldn't make it in any other industry, and decided, hey, I can do curls and I have big biceps, so I'll just be a trainer.
Yep.
And there's no regulation on how good somebody can be, like a massage therapist or a chiropractor. You have to sit for a state board. As personal training, there's so many different aspects of training, so many different ways and protocols that you can do to get to the same desired result, that it's really hard to test that.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
They just happen to I just found that the bottom feeders of personal trainers kind of migrated to LA Fitness, and I found that those, if you watch them, if you're in LA Fitness and you're watching them train their clients, most of them are on their cell phones, or they're looking at themselves in the mirror. Some of them are doing really stupid exercises that I have where they came up from, came up with these exercises from. And I'm thinking, man, this is unreal. So when somebody came in, that was one of the first things that we would vet them. My front desk staff, or my hiring staff, they would say, first question was, did you ever work at LA Fitness? Or did you get a certification through LA Fitness? And if it was a yes, then they would say, okay, thank you very much, but we don't need you.
Yeah.
We wanted somebody that was reputable. We wanted somebody that wants to make a lifelong journey in fitness. It can change and it can be different, but we want somebody that's looking for a profession and that truly wants to change people's lives and create value in people's lives and empower people. If you're looking for if you're looking just for an hourly rate, then you can do any job. It's not, for like you and me, it's not a job, it's a life. We take it home with us. We our clients' problems, we separate ourselves, but they at some point, we want to help them get to that next level. And it's not just about clocking in and clocking out, but really creating value and really helping people get better, whether it's from disease to ease and helping them live a higher peak performance life, or if it's somebody that just wants to improve their golf swing. Those are the kind of people that we're looking for, that just are hungry and desire change. And those are the people that we want to help. I found that a lot of trainers out there, they don't. It's just another job for them. Speaking of that, there was I had a contract at Home Depot, and this was post 9/11, and we were pulling into the security gate before you go into the parking lot, and the car in front of me stops at the gate. The window rolls down, and all this plume of smoke comes out. And this was before they had the vapors, so I knew this was real smoke. And I was like, they had tinted windows. I had no idea who it was. So I pulled into the parking lot. I got to figure out who this was, because I had a lot of smoke coming out of this car. Yeah. So I pulled up. It was one of the girls from the fitness center. Oh. And I thought, you've got to be kidding me. So I kind of run up to her, and I'm like, hey, how you doing? And she's like, great, good to see you. You're coming in to teach a class? And I said, yeah. And I said, hey, I have a question for you. I said, do you smoke? And she said, yeah. And I said, how can you smoke and have personal training clients? And she puts her hand on my shoulder, and she was like, Nathan, some of us don't take our job as serious. I mean, that's a prime example. Wow. Right? So some of us don't take our job as serious as you do. And it's almost like doctors and nurses that work with lung and heart patients, but you see them out in the parking lot smoking. Oh. Like you've got to walk the walk. You have to talk the talk, and you can't be a hypocrite. Am I going to eat a cheeseburger? Absolutely. Am I going to have some pizza? Sure. But for the most part, those are cheat meals, and we live a certain lifestyle, and because we want to be an example and set an example for the people that we're trying to lead to optimal health.
Yeah, I agree. That's quite a story. I can't believe, wow, that's amazing. I don't even think I have any clients that smoke, not that I know of at least, but just much less to have a fitness professional coming out of their car smoking. I mean, that's terrible. I mean, with the big cloud of smoke, you could probably smell it on her. I'm sure her participants or her clients probably smelled it as well. But that's just unfortunate. That's really and unbelievable too. That's but I almost believe it. With the LA fitness trainers too, some of the common problems that I always hear, and again, and not to pick on them, I'll even say that this could be other gyms, but you hear sometimes where clients are frustrated because when I have new clients come to me, they'll tell me that they get a negative connotation, perception about personal training because they say, well, my last trainer, he was always late, like constantly, like 10, 15 minutes late. And every time I would call, they'd cancel on me at the last minute because they said that they just rebooked another person or they double booked themselves. And that's another thing that I'm just really surprised by, that trainers kind of have that kind of lack of scheduling, or that just, kind of basic fundamental understanding that they should at least respect their clients' times. And what's your thoughts on that too, like with trainers who are hypocritically late, or they don't deliver, and that gives us a bad name? I mean, you hear that, I'm sure, from previous clients who've come to you, right?
Right. I think but it's not just in our industry. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people want to show up and they want the money, but they don't want to do the work.
Right, exactly.
It's kind of like, well, if you pay me, then I'll do this. Or if you do this for me, then I'll do that, which it's backwards. It's like you need to do the service first and create the value, and then people are going to pay you, and they're going to pay you a premium price because they know that you're going to deliver the goods. Mm-hmm. You can't expect, to show up late, to be on your phone, to cancel, and then them not to do. You have to treat it as a profession. And I think a lot of people become, if you're an independent trainer, you're an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. If you're an independent trainer, you are a business owner. And I think a lot of people don't quite understand what that means to be a business owner. Mm-hmm. They see a misrepresentation, or they see a few other people in the gym training clients, and they're like, oh, that's easy. They're just running them through a workout. It's a lot more than just that. Mm-hmm. So I think that there's a misconception of what exactly it takes to be a trainer, what exactly it takes to be a good trainer, and to be a fitness professional. But if you want people to respect you, then you have to respect yourself. And I think a lot of times as entrepreneurs, business owners, personal trainers, we need to have more personal development and develop ourselves, and then understand, okay, this is a level that I live at, and I expect you to treat me the same way, but I will treat you the same way as well. So I think that is missing a lot, especially respect, because it is. If you don't respect other people, you're going to be late. If you don't respect other people's time, I mean, it's just disrespect, and you have to be respectful of other people, and they'll ultimately respect you too.
No, yeah, I mean, what you said too aligns with a lot of the podcast. Seth Godin, he's always talking about entrepreneurship, and I listened to a recent one. I'll have to forward this to you. It's really good. He talks about the differences with entrepreneurs and freelancers, and he kind of goes over the ideal client and why this whole podcast had to do with you don't want as many clients as you can get. You want to make yourself a boutique/niche, whatever you're doing, professional. Right. And it's kind of what you said in your presentation when you talked about I think you used the word niche or niche. I can't say that word correctly. And or the fact that you don't want everybody. Like when you're first starting, sure, yeah, you want to hustle, like you said. Yeah, you do that. You take care of business, and that's what I did. I'm a traveling trainer. I would drive everywhere. I'd go to Johns Creek, Alpharetta, Dunwoody, Sandy Springs. It didn't matter. But now, the first question I have for a new prospect, I'm like, are you in Buckhead, or can you come to Buckhead? If the answer is no, then I'll immediately say, okay, well, let's find you a better trainer. Or the first question that I hate on the flip side of that, I'm sure you can probably relate to this, when a client asks me, how much do you charge? What are your rates? When they first, I just want to hang up, because if the most important thing to them is how cheap they can get me or how affordable I am, then I am not their trainer. Neither are you. I mean, let's face it. I happily admit, I'm probably going to be a little bit pricier than any of the other trainers here, and that's great. I think that's a compliment of both of us that we can be in that position, and that just comes with time and experience. But also because of what you just said a few minutes ago, your value, what you provide. Yes, we're going to charge a lot of money, but we're going to provide them more than that. And that's what Seth Godin kind of says, and he speaks that to clients, not only in personal training, but any kind of industry or business. The clients, he tries to get a point across, is that if you pay a premium, you're going to get more than the value of what you're paying, and vice versa. You look at the flip side of the coin. You pay whatever it is, $20 for a personal training session, or some of the guys you and I know have been doing this for a long time still charge $35 for a personal training session. You're probably going to get what you paid for in that case. Right. And so I think that's interesting how you pretty much kind of, I wish, it's hard for us to get that out there, but some people immediately do understand that. You're right. Your good long-term clients will ask more questions like, look, I need help with weight loss. I've been struggling. I need, what can we do to help me? Or what are your hours? What's your schedule? Can you help me? Those are more the questions that they're interested. If their first question, I'll tell you this, Nathan, I was so angry. This is one time I want to reach through the phone and punch somebody, because she had insulted me. She said, I have a trainer down the street who says that they'll charge me for $40 for an hour. Beat that, or else you don't get me as a client. If she said that to you, I mean, seriously, can you imagine? Like, literally, I wanted to hang up. I was so angry, but and I'm sure you get these too. It's kind of like filtering through real clients, and and again, not to beat up on clients, because again, they're our lifeblood, they're our heart and soul of what makes us run. But it's really interesting. There's a lot of material and books out there. I'm sure you've read them too, on separating your A clients, your B clients, and your C clients. And over time, you and I are in a position where we can kind of be picky and choosy and be like, okay, well, I just want A clients. And in my case, I'm just here in Buckhead. You're there in Roswell, and so I think that's a great position to be in. But I guess where I was kind of tangenting off that a little bit, though, is I guess if we put it in the perspective of the client when they're looking to hire a personal trainer, they probably want to look at and research like your website and what you've done, what your accomplishments are, and the fact that you guest speak everywhere and that your material. We kind of, I think sometimes we should probably tell personal training prospects to interview their trainers and say, look, ask them questions about, are you an LA Fitness trainer? I think that's one that they can ask. But okay, well, we beat up on LA Fitness for a second. Let's talk about good trainers for a second. What are some of the good qualities or some of the good credentials that you like? That let's say somebody calls you up and say, Nathan, I really need training, but I live in Ohio, or what should I look for? Or I live out of state or abroad. What would you tell them in terms of, okay, well, here's what you need to do if you're going to get with a good trainer? What do you like in a personal trainer?
Well, one of the questions on our hiring application was, what were the last 5 books you read?
Interesting. And, I like that.
I mean, not to knock it, but if the last 5 books you read were Harry Potter, I don't know how far you're going in life. I mean, those are great casual books,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Great story, and it's a good story. But if maybe 3 out of the 5 books, you could have Harry Potter and Twilight in there, but 3 of those books were self-development books, like Think and Grow Rich, or the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, or the book we're reading now, The Big Leap. If you're reading those kind of books, I want to know that you're developing yourself, because as your employer, I'm going to help you and I'm going to develop you, but I need you to meet me halfway. Help me help you. So one of the things is, are they always looking to improve? I don't care how many certifications you have. I'm only looking for 1 or 2. So you could have 90 certifications, and that's great. You're a certification whore. Wonderful. But I don't care about that. I can teach you how to be a good trainer, but I need you to be teachable and coachable. So those are the kind of things that I looked at. One, as somebody that's looking for a personal trainer, I would definitely make sure that they were certified in something like NSCA, ACSM, ACE, ISSA, one of those
nationally accredited certifications.
Absolutely, right. And then make sure that they have liability insurance.
Oh yes, definitely.
It should be $1 million policy. It's easy to get. You can get most of those now. They have those offers alongside the personal training certification, or they tell you a place where you can go get it, because you need to have liability insurance just in case something happens.
Oh yeah.
And then, ask them, is this just a part-time gig for you? Are you doing this in your spare time because you just need extra income? Is this a life, and whatever their answer is, it might be part-time, but they truly value that part-time. Maybe they do need some extra income and they're not ready to make that full-time leap into personal training yet, but they're getting close. So, if it's something that's a life, or something that, they're not going to be gone next week, then that's the kind of person that I would go with. Then you also have to have a good dynamic and a good rapport with that person. There are some people, some clients, I have no problem with them, but we just didn't get along, so I would always push them off to one of my trainers or something. Or if one of my trainers had a problem with a client, their personalities just clashed, then we would just move them to another trainer, because not everybody, you don't want to train everybody, and you're not going to get along with everybody as much as you want to, and as much as they're a good person, you're a good person, but maybe it's just awkward, or it's just a little off. You're not meshing. You have to have a relationship. It's not just coming in and doing some sets and reps. You're going to hear some stuff. We're not counselors, or we're not therapists, but sometimes it feels like that, right?
It
have
does.
to build some kind of rapport and relationship and bond with your client to help them, because you're going to lock arms with that person, and it could be 6 months or a year and a half, and that's a long time to be with somebody that you really don't like. So find somebody that you like, that you mesh with, and I think you'll find success. Another thing is ask for testimonials. How many have you helped? Have you helped anybody in my situation? If I have diabetes, or if I have some physical back pain or back problems or something like that, or if I want to improve my golf swing, how many golfers have you worked with? Can you what can you do, and or what are some of the ideas that you are going to do with me to get me to where I want to go? That might be a little bit, a lot of clients don't come, they have no clue. And a lot of times, do you know how your car works? Do you know how to fly a plane? No, but you can get in it from Atlanta to LA and you can get there. So, you don't have to know all the specifics of a training program for it to work. You don't need to know all the difference about the minerals and micro and macronutrients in food in order to lose weight and lose body fat by eating correctly. So, some questions are good because you kind of want to know some stuff. But I had other clients who were just tell me what to do and I'm going to do it. I don't care how I get there. I just know I'm going to get there with you, rather than learning the educational part of, what we're doing with them.
Yeah, very well said, Nathan. I like that. Yeah. And, the other thing that I thought was really interesting too, good advice and suggestions that you gave to the students that was very lasting impression for me was, I like how you said, hey, don't fraternize with your clients. They're not your drinking buddies. Don't walk out to the bar with them. And for heaven's sake, whatever you do, make sure you don't have sex with them. And I'm sure you and I could do a whole 30-minute video blog on that one alone, because I think we've got our stories that we would probably share on that one as well.
Yeah, that's that is rampant in our industry, and it's so funny. Because if you're going out drinking with people, now they're your pals. And if you want to keep a professional relationship and you want to be a professional, you can't, you're not going to go out drinking with the doctor or your dentist or anybody that, think about it. How many people that you go and see in a professional environment, your accountant, how many of these people do you go and, hey, let's go drink, or hey, let's go do this or do whatever. You don't do that. So, you have to keep good boundaries. You have to have boundaries with your clients, and, you can be their friend, but you also can't be their friend, So otherwise the line is crossed and you're never going to make any money. You're never going to have a business because, why should they pay if you're doing nonsensical things with them?
Yeah, exactly. Well, unless they're offering to pay you for something, but that's another whole, well, we could talk about that next time. But Nathan, this 30 minutes has flown by so fast. I always enjoy talking to you and getting a chance to catch up, and I really enjoy being here. But before you go, if you don't mind, let's plug your website, please, and how do people learn more about you and get in contact with you, please?
Absolutely. If you want to learn more, you can go to nathanjnowak.com. We have everything there. If you want to email me, it's nathan@trinitybody.com, but you can also contact us through the website. We have programs that you can do online. We have monthly memberships online. So there's a lot of different information there. If you get confused or need help, you can always just, like I said, email me, or you can also call us at 404-966-5425.
Perfect, Nathan. Thank you. We'll get that on the screen, too. And I will attest, you are the king of programming. I've never met another professional who just stays on top of it and has the quality programs that you provide. And also, my wife will probably be reaching out to you, too, to get caught up as well. We need to get her on board. So, and thank you again. I appreciate your time and everything you and Stephanie are doing. So keep up the great work. And again, for everyone else out there, when we fade to black here, you're going to see the website link and phone number you could take down here momentarily. So Nathan, Stephanie, both of y'all enjoy the rest of your week here.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right.